This is a short video about the new New York City Property Tax Advisory Commission proposal. If you see right here, they're calling it 2021 Tax Advisory Proposal. You can click on the link to get the actual document, but this is a calculator that helps you find out what your tax might be under this proposal. Remember, it's just a proposal. It hasn't passed anywhere yet, but this is the time to find out what the effect would be, because they did document and publish numbers and examples, thank goodness. The website is here. If you look, it's nyc.tidalforce.org/new tax, and the spelling is TIDALFORCE, and it's as if the force of the tide meaning the water tide, right? And now we're going to go to the site. We're going to put in some random addresses like 300 President Street, and it does try to find, it's found some property called 296 President Street in Brooklyn. Let's click on that. It's going to give you its borough block and lot number. That's what this ID is, this large number. Those are the things that uniquely identify tax lots. Now, this is a particularly interesting property because it's a corner property. And if you look down here, it's actually giving the real address is Smith Street. So it's at the corner of Smith and President, and there will be, lots of examples like this where you're searching on an address, you think that's the address, but the reality is that New York City's Department of Finance has a different address for it, but the borough block and lot number will be the same. Usually, some have garages that have a different lot number, or maybe there's there can be multiple buildings on a tax lot, and of course there can be condominiums on a tax lot, which makes it even more complicated. And we even found out that storage units can be their own condominium, which is interesting. The usage of this is, if there's New York City addresses, you use this input. And if it's owner names and, random addresses, you can search in the search by owner name or simple addresses. But very specific New York City ones you want to put here because it handles the corner lots and all the different property address varieties. You can read the form, but this property tax calculator is meant to help primary residents who are owners, and the owner is the primary resident of the property, and whether they're a senior or not, calculate their new property tax under the proposal. It's just a proposal, as I said, with given the combined adjusted gross income. That way you know ahead of time what the proposal's effect will be on you. And we can tell that most of North Brooklyn, small 1, 2, and 3 family homes, tax lot 1, they call it, will be increasing. The proposal will increase their property tax, while in Staten Island and lots of parts of Queens, it will lower a little bit by 10%, but it might increase North Brooklyn property tax for class 1, 2, and 3 family homes by 100% to 900% we've seen. Wow. So we're going to put in, that's cool, right? We're going to put in a adjusted gross income of $100,000. What do you think of that? Do you think that raising property tax by 900% is fair?
No.
No? Okay, our audience says no. And so we're going to put in a $100,000 adjusted gross income. We're going to say the person is a primary resident and they're a senior, right? So we picked primary resident and senior. This is what their current tax is, approximately about $8,000. Now let's see what their new tax with no exemptions would be $23,000. Obviously, we don't want to do that. If you want to share, you can use some of these share links, and they're completely shareable, but it gives a lot of detail. Now, given this situation, the new tax with this person being a senior and that income would be about $19,000. So it's going to go up 100% for this particular person. This person's not in Park Slope. They're more in that area, Court Street and President Street, that area, Smith Street. Now, if we go up and let's pick someone else, because you can see this tax is going up by 100%. Their market value is about $3 million. Right here, you can see that, and that's going to affect them. Now, let's show that if we make it a non-primary resident, then what's going to happen is their final tax will be much more because they don't get any benefits, right? If you're not a primary resident, these exemptions are only for primary resident, owner primary resident. And then senior will turn off senior, and it may affect it also, yes. So this person's income is too high for a senior to actually matter. So let's lower the income to about $40,000, and let's see what the effect is. Their property tax will go down to about $9,000 as opposed $9,000 now, instead of, because they qualify for maybe the senior exemption and the circuit breaker, so they would get a $10,000 circuit breaker benefit. They would get E-Star. Oh, no, actually they only get Star because it looks like I'm not sure. They really should. You would think they would get, that might be not a senior. So let's make them a senior, and suddenly they'll get E-Star, right? So they'll get E-Star, and their tax will go down even more. It'll be about $4,000. But that's only because they're getting all these benefits with this low income. So if we put their income back to like $140,000, then their tax goes back up to the $20,000. They're getting only Star because their income is too high to qualify for the enhanced Star, right? So we're going to zoom out, and we can see that this property is going to get an increase of property tax unless they have low income and they're a senior. But if they were a senior, they would have probably already had the exemptions. So this looks like from $8,000 to possibly $23,000 or $19,000, depending on their situation. Peace out.